Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed if you are. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube while you're at it, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this conversation/reality chat. I want to play this clip from Carlos King's podcast where he interviewed Maurice and from Love and Marriage Huntsville, for those who don't know. And honestly, this guy, he just continues to reveal his layers of superficiality and of just BS when it comes to this stuff about traditional marriages, which what they describe is trash-ditional. It's not what it was intended to be. And I just feel that a lot of males like him and like his brother and like Hotel and the people that Carlos King chooses to put on these platforms to represent relationships and marriage and what success is supposed to look like is trash. And they just want to have a woman who's barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen, who is there to just open her legs, lay it low, and spread it wide whenever they are in the mood, which is a lot, no matter what they're going through in their mind and in their body, or even if they have a job or whatever, they have to do. They really want to be able to say that they are the ones that are taking care of house and home financially, and they have their woman that's there to satisfy their needs whenever they feel like it. But yet, was it first or second season that he and his brother went and got vasectomies? That was really weird. What man just goes and get a vasectomy if he's not sleeping around like that? Because most men really don't want to do that, when honestly, more women get their tubes tied than men get vasectomies, and a woman has to go through a whole lot more to prevent pregnancies when it comes to the surgical way versus a man where they just go, it's an in-office procedure, okay? And with a woman, they have to go into the hospital, get under anesthesia, and actually have a full-on surgical procedure done. So what man do you know that just willingly goes to get a vasectomy? Most males don't want to do that. So the fact that he and his brother went and got vasectomies like that, I heard the stories about him and his brother and how they used to do wild orgies and stuff like that, which is like, what woman is that desperate to be with these guys? Because it's just giving a whole lot of what I would not be want to be receiving. But hey, everybody thinks differently, and they may see him and his brother as the definition of success, or a way that they can come up. So, holes are going to hole. So if it's true about the allegations about him and his brother having wild orgy parties, and like Coleslaw had said that when she went on guys trips with Hotel, that Maurice was with a linebacker and there were other women with them, I tend to believe it. I don't believe a whole lot of what she says, but I don't really believe that she has a reason to lie about those males. But anyway, in this interview, I'm not going to play that clip. I'll put a link to it so you can listen to the entire thing if you choose to in the description box, because I was just rolling my eyes and saying a few choice words here and there as I was listening to the BS that he was spilling. But he started talking about traditional marriages, and Carlos was saying that he's really just so fascinated by straight relationships and the dynamics of them, and just seeing the roles and all that other stuff like that. So he's really interested in it. Being a gay male, it's entertaining for him. And drama is entertaining for him, because the marriages that he is putting out there for people to watch, it's not anything that anyone would want to have in their life or aspire to get into. Okay? So Maurice talking about growing up in the traditional households and, the mom stayed at home and the man went out and worked and all that other stuff like that. He's more so talking about the fact that he's used to a woman that's just pretty much doing whatever the husband tells her to do. And that's what he wants. And he can't have that not unless Kimmi bows down to it. And in a way, she has been doing that. But I don't know how much more she'll be able to take of it, because just learning a lot of the things that I'm learning now, it really seems as if some of what she has allowed could possibly be. I'm not saying that Maurice caused her to have cancer. Don't get me wrong. But we know that stress contributes to disease. And this woman had to subject herself to getting a dog, in essence, for like some type of therapy, because she was feeling some type of way in her marriage. And she's one of the people who's been married for the shortest period of time on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And he was pressuring her to do some things when it came to her career. She loves being a nurse, I'm assuming, because she said that that's what she, liked doing. And he was trying to pressure her to be an entrepreneur. She said, I'm not an entrepreneur. He wanted to move his son down there, and she didn't really have a choice in the matter, or she didn't put her foot down. I'm not saying she didn't have a choice, but it doesn't seem like, for what we could tell from what we were exposed to, that she really put her foot down when it came to that. So she's now thinking that she's getting married to this man. She's got her own son that's going to be doing his thing on his own, and it'll just be her and her husband. So it'll be like a love nest, like, this is just me and my man. And then it turns out to be me, my man, and his little boy. And that's not what she was knowing she was going to be getting into, but that's what you got. And now she's had to go through a battle for her life, going through chemo, surgery, radiation. And she's at a point where it's been a year, thankfully, that she went through that battle. And at this point in time, she is free and clear of that C word. And so really, happy for her and hope that it never comes back. But if she stays in this toxic situation, I don't know. I'm just saying. I want to play this clip of what Maurice was saying. And Carlos asked him some questions about sex. And it was just really ridiculous. So I'm just going to play this clip and then continue with my commentary.
Are you that much of a sexual person to where, despite what she's going through right now, you still feel like there's a happy medium in terms of her pleasuring you?
This is what I'll say, because this is very difficult, right? There's a difference between wants and needs, all right? And I'm a person who actually needs sex, not a person who wants sex. Now, at times I want it, but I actually need it. So life throws us curveballs like what we're going through right now. And what Kimmi is doing is admirable as a spouse. To roll over and suffer through it, I was hoping it wouldn't be a suffering, a sufferable moment. But she rolls over and suffers through it, fakes it, all for me. Because at that moment, it's something that she completely didn't desire, right? And I kind of look at it as if, and this is, all jokes aside, I look at it as her standing by me while I'm standing by her.
I'm going to pause that right there. Did you hear that bullshit? Did you hear that? The fact that this nigga, and I'm sorry, excuse my language, because I don't even usually talk like this on recording. I don't usually talk like this a lot. Someone really has to take me there for me to really but this nigga had the nerve to say that he needs sex. Listen, I know that there's a lot of stupid people in the world, but sex is not a need. Let me just educate some people for a moment who may not know this. But if sex was a need, when you were born, babies would be getting screwed in the hospital. And I'm sorry to just try to, I'm not trying to go there, but I'm trying to be as blunt as possible. You need nutrition. You need oxygen. And you can get by without food for a while as long as you have water. So the fact that he said that I need sex, and it was admirable of her to just suffer through it. Yeah, I'm quite sure she was suffering through it because I can't imagine sex being enjoyable with this douchebag. I'm saying the fact that he said that I need sex, and it's admirable of her for her to stand by me as I look at it. She's standing by me as I'm standing by her. She was going through a health battle, one of the most serious ones. It's not like she had a headache. And she said, you know what? I got a headache, but for the sake of pleasing my man, I'm just going to let him get his rocks off so I can go take my Motrin and go to sleep. Like the asinine thing for him to say that when Carlos asked the question, and that he had to pause for a moment and say, let me say this. The fact that he couldn't say immediately when asked that question, which would have been the right thing. I guess some people could say, well, at least he didn't lie. I would not want him to lie, but I can't accept that what he said and think that, well, it's okay because he didn't lie. I don't know how Kimmi can sit and listen to that, and no one's trying to embarrass her. None of us who are speaking about this are trying to force her hand to go and dissolve this marriage and get out of it or anything like that, because none of us can make that decision for anyone. But we can speak about it. We can share our thoughts, views, and opinions, and that's all we're really doing. But it's ultimately her life that she has to live and lead, and she has to decide if this is what she wants to continue to go through, because it's not going to change. This is who she married. This was the choice and the decision that she made. And the fact that this nigga had the nerve to say out of his mouth that he needs sex, and the fact that she rolled over and suffered through, like, he's giving us the visual that we really don't care to have. But what I picture, what I envision based on what he said, is that she just rolled over on her side, allowed him to stick it in there, thrust, bust off. Okay, thanks, baby. And I probably not even said that. And probably didn't even go and wash herself off, just rolled over and started snoring so that he could get his release, because he needs sex when she's not feeling good, losing her hair, not having energy, not having passion, having pain all over her body. Like, absolutely crazy that he thinks that he could say something like that and people would respond to it in a favorable way. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I had to pause it right there. So I'm just going to continue this clip.
So, as difficult as it may seem, we should all feel that we would be better people and say, oh, no, I don't want or need sex for however long it takes for you to recover. But we then live in reality where that's not true.
I want to ask you this. So when you say you need sex, not want it, you need it. Obviously, there's things we need. We need oxygen. We need water. We need, there's certain things we need in order to be able to live a healthy life. Mm-hmm. So your need for sex, talk to me about that. Like, why is it a need? Because when you need something and you're without it, you're going to suffer health-wise, right? We need things. We need vitamins. We need all those things. Why do you need sex?
I need sex like Carlos needs mess.
Girl!
Come back, Carlos!
did not have on my bingo card that Maurice J. Scott in this interview was going to gag me to the point where I literally wasn't expecting that. You need sex like I need. Now that look.
You got it. It made the connection.
Look, I ain't mad at that response, brother. Can you imagine a day? Better yet, can you go a month without mess? Hey guys, world, I need more. What are you doing here? Where are we at? People, we need to stop getting along. There's something in there. There's a little more to this story. Hey guys, let's peel back some of these layers. There's more to this story. I kind of feel like that. Hey, let's peel back these covers. There's more to this interaction. Can you imagine? Like, Carlos has a show where there's no mess. Like
no mess.
There's nothing happening. Like there's no nothing.
Nothing. There's no controversy nowhere. What is? Are we in alternate life?
All right, I want to pause it right there for a moment because nothing that was said is funny. It was not funny at all. He says he needs sex like Carlos needs mess. Now, first of all, yeah, Carlos may be a very messy queen. Some people call him Carlos Queen. I have at times. Mess is not something that he needs. It's something that he definitely enjoys, but it's not a need. And for him to make light of the question at hand, because we're not talking about a man who is just married to a woman who is 100% healthy and she's just a kept woman or whatever. I'm not even saying that someone who is 100% healthy and that is a kept woman, that their man is just taking care of them, giving them everything they need and want and desire financially and emotionally or whatever. It should just be dropping her panties whenever this man is ready to get his rocks off either, because at that point in time, then you're just a concubine. You're just a sexual servant, and no woman should be made to feel that way. I don't care how much your man is taking care of you, because it's supposed to be something that you both are okay with, because at that point in time, you're just giving into this dog that just wants to, this is how I see it. Being someone who is in a household where we have dogs, where we have bred them, and when the dog is in heat, when the girl is in heat and the boy, he is going crazy, that boy dog, he just runs up behind that girl and he's just trying to get his rocks off. That's why they call men dogs that behave that way, because God made human beings were supposed to be higher than animals. And if you act like an animal, then you're not a man anymore. You're just a dog. So for him to make light of it and say, I need sex like Carlos needs mess, you are speaking about your wife who was going through a very scary time in her life, hoping and praying that these treatments that she is going through is going to spare her life, because they don't try to cure anybody. All they do is treat. You really have to leave it in the hands of the good Lord above and hope and pray that through the treatments that you are entrusting these people to handle for you, that God is going to step in and do the healing, because people, they don't heal. Doctors, they don't heal. All they do is treat. They don't heal and they don't cure, because there's more money in treatments than there is in curing, So I'm saying all of that to say, for him to say that about your wife, who not only is your wife, but also was going through a cancer battle, and she was making mention of how she just was not feeling it during the treatments, but she still was giving in to him because that's what he, quote unquote, needed, is utter bullshit. And for him to laugh about it is crazy. And even Carlos's face is at face at first, I said faces, Carlos's face at first was a little stern. And then he started laughing. I do believe that he was, as messy as Carlos can be, I do believe that he was patronizing Maurice, because I even believe that Carlos has the somewhat of the depth, but definitely having a mother who died going through cancer herself. He does have some compassion when it comes to a situation like that, where he wouldn't think that that's funny. But he was just patronizing Maurice because he was just trying to get through the interview and not trying to piss him off, because he does tend to pander to the men more than he does to the women on his show.
You are funny. You Scott brothers, y'all are something else. Something else. I like how you reverted back to me. That was good. I'm going to give you, I now see why you are a lawyer and you were valedictorian. You have a way with words, which is why Kimmi in tonight's episode kept saying, stop. Answer my, because she already knows this brother going to come with some bullshit. Hey. I love you for that. Now look, going back to my original question that you actually made a good point. I don't know how to finish this interview. Is your need for sex because you're unable to function the rest of the day in terms of focus? Because I'll be real with you. I live a life of peace. but when it comes to everything that happens outside of just me, it is messy and it's fun. It's fun. But, and I like it. I ain't gonna front, I like it. So is that how sex is for you? Like, are you able to have a good day, but sex makes it a better day?
Absolutely. I think life without sex would be like living life in black and white, right? If all we did was live life in black and white, we'd make it through, right? I look at the shoes on your shelf back there, right? What if they were all just black and white? It doesn't add the color to those Louboutins. Why is it so important at the bottom? The sole is red, right? You know what I'm saying? Why is it so important that the sole is red? We call it bloody shoes. You know what I mean? So color, sex is one of the most powerful driving forces here on earth, if we actually give it credit for what it is, right? And most men wouldn't be the aspirational men that they are if they weren't driven by women. The beauty of women, like, it drives men and women. Hell, women like, oh my God, look at her. She got it. Like,
let me stop it right here. I'm not playing no more of his bullshit, because listen, here's the thing. That's all he cares about. And I just feel like one of the reasons why he married Kimmi was to just have that in-house PUSSY. And yeah, he had it before when it came to Kiowa, but he said that he was screwing around with so many different women before he got with Kimmi. So it's like, all he cares about is sex. Why would you even want to marry somebody like that? Did you really think that he was going to change? He was screwing around with so many different people. Now you are that, I'm assuming, because I don't know if he's been stepping out since he got married to her. But if he has not been, he went from screwing around with all these different women. Who knows? Maybe he had one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. He's now replaced all of these different women with one. Did you really think that he was going to slow down? He's a freaking nymphomaniac. That is not normal. It's not normal, because when he started to go into this diatribe, you know, the typical lawyer thing. I was a legal assistant for 12 years, so I know I don't really care for lawyers. I'm just being honest. There's a few exceptions, but no, he is full of crap. And the fact that he wanted to make it into some thing that it's like, well, sex saves the world and so many great men, if it were not for them having sex all of the time, they wouldn't have been able to accomplish the many things that they've been able to accomplish or invent or whatever. And it's like, I don't wish sickness or anything like that on people, but sometimes it's like people, sometimes they need to go through some things to really figure out what the real important things in life truly are. And maybe if it was his ass going through a cancer battle, he would see how unimportant sex really is. Because when you are going through a fight for your life, the last thing that you're thinking about is having sex. It's not a need. He's a nymphomaniac. He's trash. He is extremely selfish. And this is the man that Kimmi chose. I don't wish him on anybody, but she's just going to have to continue to open her eyes and realize she lives with this man. We just get to experience him on this show when we choose to watch it for without the commercials, 40 to 44 minutes every Saturday when it does air. And I don't know how much longer this show is going to be on the air. To be honest with you, I don't wish anybody to lose their jobs. I've spoken about stuff like this before when it comes to people saying they need to cancel that show or whatever. I don't just think about the people who are on camera. I think about the people who are behind the camera and their families and loved ones and things like that. These people have families to support. So I don't wish anybody to lose their jobs. But I will say this. I hope that those people are getting their ducks in order and they're preparing for the end of the show and to get their next opportunity moving forward and things like that, because I don't see the show lasting much longer. The fact that they subject us to shows like this, when he talked about the mess, when Love and Marriage Huntsville first came on, things were revealed when it came to Melody and Hotel's marriage and stuff started coming out. And it definitely did grab more people's attention. But I believe the majority of the people who were watching at first, it wasn't drama like this. And so when a show turns from being, maybe not like it was on, I don't know, the Hallmark Channel or HGTV or the Christian Network or something like that, where something is supposed to just be 100% extremely positive. But and still, it wasn't love and hip hop style drama. So when it goes from being pretty unproblematic to just being so toxic, it turns a lot of people off. It's not, in my personal opinion, it's not really going to work that way when you got all of these toxic things that are coming out after the fact that's just being revealed now. I just don't see the show lasting that much longer. I know he mentioned in this interview something about his son and calling his son monster, which I actually talked about before. And he was saying, well, that is not a negative connotation. It actually means it means, for the definition that we have of it, we're speaking about something good. So we'll see in 10 years how he is, in 10 years after, he's done his thing, and we can come back and you'll see how he is, in 10 years. And he was speaking in the terms of like Love and Marriage Huntsville being on in 10 years. And that definitely is not going to be happening. Absolutely not. I would be surprised if this show lasted one more year, but it definitely will not be around in 10. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about Maurice and his traditional marriage explanations and definitions, and definitely let me know how you feel about him talking about sex as a need and how, Kimmi was admirable to roll over on her side and let him stick and move until he got his rocks off while she wasn't feeling good because he needed it, and, screw her feelings. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and I'm going to say bye.